Phi's office life looked normal on the surface. Files, laptop work, meetings, short breaks with colleagues. But something felt wrong every time he stepped out. Sometimes he noticed a black car near the road. Sometimes it was behind him for a few seconds before disappearing. He frowned a few times, but never told Not. One evening, Not dropped Phi home after work. The driver was quiet. "You're overworking," Not said calmly. "I'm fine," Phi replied, looking outside the window. Not glanced at him briefly. "Be careful." Phi didn't answer. A few days later, after office hours, Phi stood outside the building with his colleagues, waiting to leave together. They were talking and laughing lightly. Phi stayed slightly behind, checking his phone. That's when he saw it. A black car parked across the road. A man inside was clearly visible. He was looking straight at Phi. Not casually. Not randomly. Directly. Phi frowned slightly but said nothing. Before he could look again, his colleagues started walking, and he followed them. From a distance, Mac also happened to be leaving the building. His steps slowed when he noticed the same car. He saw the man inside. The man was still staring at Phi. And then, his eyes shifted. He noticed Mac watching him. A second of silence. Then the car started immediately and drove away fast. Mac's expression darkened slightly. That night, Mac entered Not's office without knocking. Not looked up. "What happened?" Mac's voice was serious. "We need to talk." Not leaned back slightly. "About what?" Mac paused. "I think Phi is being followed." Not's expression changed immediately. Mac continued, "I saw someone outside the office today. Black car. The man inside was clearly watching him." Not's voice lowered. "Are you sure?" Mac shook his head. "Not fully." Silence filled the room. Mac added, "Not. You need to be careful. Don't involve Phi in all this." Not's eyes hardened. "What do you mean?" "I'm not dragging him into anything. I'm more worried about him than you." "Since the last incident." Mac stepped closer. "Then why don't you stay away from him?" Not stood up. His tone sharpened. "Watch what you're saying." Mac didn't back down. "He's just a college boy. He came here for internship. He has a life. This could ruin everything for him. What if something happens?" "I'm handling it." Mac stared at him. "And if you can't?" A pause. Then Mac turned away. "Fine. If you already know everything." He left. Later that night, Not sat alone in his office. For once, his expression wasn't calm. It was thinking. Heavy. Controlled, but disturbed. Phi called him. Once. Twice. Not answered. But his voice was distant. "I'm busy." The call ended. Phi stared at his phone for a moment. Something felt wrong. Outside his window, a black car passed slowly again. One night, Phi was walking back home. The streets were quieter than usual. His footsteps echoed lightly. As he turned into a narrow shortcut. Then, a hand grabbed him. Before he could react properly, he was pulled into a dark, empty side street. 3 to 4 men in suits stood ahead of him. Phi's breath tightened. "What? What are you doing?" he asked sharply. One man stepped forward. "We don't want anything from you." Phi frowned. "Then let me go." The man continued calmly. "We heard you are close to Natapong." Phi's expression shifted slightly. "Tell him to stay away from our business. Let him handle what he is doing." Phi frowned in confusion. "I don't know what you're talking about. If you have business with him, talk to him directly. Or his manager." A few men laughed quietly. Another tilted his head. "So you really don't know what kind of business we're talking about?" Phi glared at him. "What do you want to say?" Before he could react, a heavy blow struck him from behind. Not enough to kill him, but enough to send him crashing onto the rough ground. His arm scraped hard against the surface, blood quickly forming across his skin. One of the men immediately shouted, "What are you doing? If he dies, Natapong will bury all of us here." Another stepped forward nervously. But then, a loud impact echoed through the street. Someone had arrived. Natapong. Mac stood behind him, tense and alert. Phi slowly lifted his head, eyes widening. Not didn't answer. He walked forward calmly, removing his tie with controlled movements. Then, he moved. Fast. Violent. One by one, the suited men were thrown down before they could even react. Mech shouted from behind, trying to control the situation, but Not didn't stop. His focus wasn't the fight. It was Phi. Within moments, silence returned. Only broken breathing and injured men remained on the ground. Not walked straight to Phi and carefully helped him stand. His voice was low. "What do you want from him?" He looked at the men. "Deal with me." Then coldly, "You always act like you own this city. But you don't even deserve to call yourselves human." One man raised his voice weakly. "We were just talking. We only wanted you to stay away from our business." Not's eyes briefly shifted toward Phi beside him. "Deal. I will stay away from your business. But you stay away from him." His voice dropped lower. "Otherwise, even the air won't know you existed." Fear instantly filled the space. The men slowly backed away and began leaving. But one man, the one who hit Phi, tried to run. Not moved immediately. He grabbed him and slammed him to the ground. Before anyone could react, his fists were already coming down hard against the man's face again and again. No hesitation. No control. Only rage. Blood stained the pavement. Phi's breath caught in his throat. This was not the Not he knew. Mech rushed forward and grabbed Not, pulling him back. "Stop it. He'll die." Not suddenly turned and grabbed Mech's collar. His voice exploded. "Then how dare he touch Phi?" Even Mech froze. Even the injured man stopped moving. Not's breathing was heavy as he slowly turned toward Phi. For the first time, his expression softened. He walked over and pulled Phi into his arms. No words. Just holding him tightly. Like he was afraid of losing him right there. After everything ended, Not took Phi back to his home. Mech arrived a few minutes later, but stayed outside, not interrupting. Inside, silence felt heavier than words. Not immediately called a doctor, not for himself, but for Phi. Phi sat quietly while the doctor treated his arm. Only after finishing, the doctor looked at Not. "You should get treated too. Your hand is badly injured." His knuckles were bleeding, arms scratched from the fight. But Not didn't respond. "I'm fine," he said simply. Phi frowned immediately. "If you want to take care of me, then take care of yourself first. You're important to me." That made Not pause. Then he finally agreed. Later that night, Mech left. Phi was lying on the couch, half asleep. Not slowly walked closer. When he reached out, Phi suddenly flinched and opened his eyes, panic flashing in them. His body reacted before his mind. Not froze instantly. His hand stopped mid-air. Phi didn't look at him. "What are you doing?" he asked quietly. "I was just going to take you to the bedroom," Not said softly. Phi shook his head. "Don't worry. I'll go myself." He stood up slowly. But Not grabbed his arm gently. "Phi. Tell me the truth." Phi stopped. Not's voice lowered. "Are you afraid of me?" Phi finally looked at him. "I am not," he said quietly. "But I'm worried." He hesitated. "What if I do something wrong by accident? Will you do that to me too?" Silence filled the room. Not pulled him into his arms. Holding him tightly. "Phi," he said lowly. "I love you." Phi's eyes widened, turning teary. Not didn't let go. "I never lose control on weak and honest people. You should know that. I've always cared about you. I would never force anything on you." A pause. "If you want to leave, you are free. I won't stop you." Phi's voice trembled. "I also love you. But I'm worried for you. If you promise me you'll stay away from danger, that's enough. I'm not asking you to change. Just don't lose yourself." Not slowly nodded. No more words. Just understanding. Phi leaned closer first. And kissed him. Not pulled him closer immediately, holding him tightly as the moment deepened.
Thank you for watching. For more BL stories like this, please like and subscribe my channel.